Hello and welcome to the checkpoint. I'm CJ. All right, real quick before I introduce my guest, this is the second Floridian I've had on. Funny enough, some good podcast fun facts if you guys are following at home. I'm sure we'll have the VH1 pop-ups on the bottom. Let's say this is the second Floridian. This is the second guest from Orlando. Anyway, those who have been listening to me podcasts for years will know my guest, very important part of my lore. He's been on my own podcast. I've been on his. It's my good friend John, a game streamer, coffee aficionado. I have to make sure I have to say that, caffeinated, well caffeinated, and huge music fan. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing, CJ? Thank you for having me, buddy.
Yeah, you used to have a really great music podcast with the Grounds for Discussion. I remembered it. Oh, and I was on a couple times to talk about Batman. I think we did a whole month of Batman pods.
Oh yeah,
which was a fun time. That was a fun time because that was when I wasn't doing any podcasting at all, and I was helping you guys with the sort of sound and some interesting ideas. And that was a really good time because it was the first time I was able to flex a lot of my editing muscles and podcasting muscles that I had in ages. So that was really good. I still hold those memories very near and dear.
I do too. And we almost did all of the original 4 Batman movies. The only one that we didn't get to was Batman and Robin, which I think would have been an amazing discussion. And I don't know, I think we need to get back to that.
We do need to get back at that some point. The Batman Forever one was the best time because we really went in on that. We were all over it and everything like that. We did 2 separate podcasts about the Robert Pattinson movie.
Yep.
Crazy how old that episode is now, and we still don't have the sequel.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, the stakes are high for that second one. It really is. But I do feel like that team is going to be able to deliver. And I pretty much watch the Batman now on a regular Halloween basis. Every time it's Halloween or around Halloween, I'm watching the Batman. It's just become kind of a new yearly tradition. Also, I listen to that soundtrack quite a bit when I go grocery shopping. That's usually what I like to do. If I'm grocery shopping, I'm listening to a Batman soundtrack.
It's funny. So on October it's Batman. It's the Batman, and then December it's Batman Returns.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How could I forget? Batman Returns is a Christmas movie. You are absolutely right, sir. Absolutely right.
It's the Christmas movie. It is it's one of the big that and Iron Man 3 are the 2 superhero Christmas movies. Those are the essential alternative Christmas movies. I always go back and I think what are the best everyone says Die Hard. It's annoying.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. It's a cliche.
Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Woke Iron Man 3 is the best Christmas movie. It's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. What else? Eyes Wide Shut. What is it? Reindeer Games.
Yeah.
Reindeer Games. Any Shane Black movie I think is those are Christmas movies right there. I think the end of Nice Guys takes place during Christmas, so it counts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because isn't Shane Black notorious for having every movie take place at some point, if not over the course of the entire movie during Christmas? I can't think of anything offhand that isn't Christmas with one of his movies.
I gotta look up Last Boy Scout.
Yeah. You gotta do it. That's right. Did he just write that one? That's a long time.
He wrote that. That was Tony Scott.
That's right. Tony Scott.
It is set during. Yeah, rest in peace to the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yes, it is set during Christmas. That one, American Psycho. I'm on a list of Christmas movies. Oh my God, Silent Night. Have you seen that movie? We're off bit, but have you seen Silent Night with Joel Kinnaman?
I have not, but I've heard it's a lot of fun.
It is so good. That movie is insane. That is one of the most, and it's John Woo, right? So obviously, some of the it's there's no dialogue in it at all. Oh my God, it's that John Wick style of I'm getting revenge on this one guy, I'm gonna go through all his goons and try to kill them. Yeah, Long Kiss Goodnight, another Shane Black like screenplay. Oh, that's crazy.
I feel
That's
like if they
absolutely
ever
crazy.
do a cinema retrospective in Florida, you need to do it with Shane Black. I feel like that's the pairing that needs to happen. I don't know what we need to do to get Shane Black here in Florida for you to talk to him about his movies, but I feel like there is
I
no
would
one
love.
better or more equipped than you, sir. It has to be you.
I he's definitely like he's up there. I think I I always look at I watched what was it? I watched True Romance for like the first time a couple years ago, right? I didn't love it because I love Tony Scott, but I felt like that movie was too hard, was too much Tarantino and not enough of like Scott's sort of like sensibilities. I feel like The Last Boy Scout's a better balance of like you got a good writer who has a voice, and then you have arguably the greatest like action director kind of doing his thing. I feel like True Romance is too much Tarantino, which I still don't understand why everyone loves it as like in the Tony Scott like the world of like Tony Scott, like all his movies. I still don't understand why it's looked at so favorably, especially compared to like something like A Man on Fire or a Deja Vu, which is. But I get it. Those are way too radical. Those are way too like insane. Um. Anyway, we're already off. Like we're already off.
Hey, that's
We're
how it always
okay.
goes
I
between us. That's it. Honestly, for me, that makes good podcasting
it
because
makes it does
it's
make
all
it.
about the
We should
passion.
everyone should be only talking about Tony Scott. Like every conversation should be about Tony Scott. We should only be talking about Tony Scott. I love Tony Scott. Real, but yeah. So how have you been, man? What? How are things? Again, local, another Florida boy. Another Florida boy. I assume you're deep in the trenches on Tau Ceti 4.
Oh boy, am
Um,
I ever! I did not realize. Here's the thing. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would become an online multiplayer gamer. Never. I was happy to be in my little bubble being a single player gamer. Not a care in the world, just always enjoying my peace and my solitude and the world that I can create and enjoy in my nice one bedroom apartment. But for whatever reason, I am now playing games like Marathon all the time. Marathon really does have me hooked. I get it. It's another extraction shooter. I've heard all the complaints, because it's the internet. But I am so hooked into it, and I love playing that with friends. It really has just become, regardless of how many times I die, and I die often, it is just so much fun to be involved in that world. It is just right up my alley. The Blade Runner esque, Ghost in the Shell, sci fi elements that are there are, I mean, you know me. I eat that up. That's my bread and butter right there. And the more I play it, honestly, the more I enjoy it because at first I was like, well, I am garbage, but I'll hang in there. I'm having a good time. I'm playing with friends. But now I am hooked, absolutely hooked. And the quality of life updates that Bungie has been doing, they've all been fantastic, and they just keep on making the game better. They recently put in a sponsored or the equivalent is a free kit from Arc Raiders. Basically, it's a mode where where everybody would be using that sponsored kit all on the same single map. So everybody's at the same footing. So then it's really down to a question of skill. And to me, that's brilliant. I wish more extraction shooters did that. Because sometimes if you go into another regular map with you know, maybe your own kit or maybe another sponsored kit, you might be going up against somebody who's got like gold tier level weapons and they wipe you
yeah.
out. So whatever Bungie is doing, please more of that because honestly, it's really clicking for me right now. And to your point, I can't get enough of it. I was not expecting to spend this many hours into a online multiplayer extraction shooter. Had no idea this was the thing.
So the Marathon is a big like it's been like a central game for this specific podcast because everyone I've had on has like talked about it to some extent. Bungie in general, I think Bungie is like this main like connective tissue to a lot of like what I've been appreciating about games lately. It isn't on my list at this moment, but Destiny 2 is like another big like
Hmm.
that's been my game. That's been like the thing that I've been checking in on, right? Like how everyone has like an MMO or some sort of check-in game.
Right.
That's been mine. That was gradual. It became like a thing. Marathon. I reviewed it. I put like, and I know this isn't a lot compared to most people, but I'm like at 50 or 60 hours in total. Um, and I loved it. Like I gave it a high score. I reviewed it for Game Critics, but the thing that really got me is yes, its gameplay is like exceptional. Its gunplay is as good as like you expected because it's Bungie. They're like the
Right.
masters of like marrying like technical like and tactical skill with like visual, like everything about it. I it's like marrying the sort of tactics based like multiplayer from like Halo with the more with like the loot based like gameplay of something like a Destiny, and even the way aiming down sights works feels very Destiny. Destiny is probably the greatest playing shooter ever made. I think it's like the in the Mount Rushmore of gunplay, it's like Destiny and Infinity Ward era, like Call of Duty
Yeah.
together, like that
Yeah.
sort of
I
level.
can see that.
And then so Marathon is like it's also there's like a good meta narrative about like we're inhabiting these runner like shells, we're being like terrible to people, we're being hostile, we're very reactive. And to your point with like Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner, I there's a lot of like references to like William Gibson's like Neuromancer
Oh yeah, that's true.
and like
Hmm.
a lot of the transhuman stuff, a lot of Jeff Vandermeer too, with like the anomalies, like in Annihilation, which like I got a lot of that. It's pulling from it's so much like that was like my favorite part. It's an online shooter, but there's so much lore and there's so much. What is it like? There's so much to pull from, especially if you're like a sci-fi head, right? Like I'm pulling from there's like references to like Frank Herbert
Hmm.
and like what is it the Jesus incident. I think that's the name of the book. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Someone's gonna like correct me.
How
But like
dare
there's
you
like
be wrong?
references to yeah there. But again, for someone like me who's read like Gibson and who's read like Vandermeer and who's read like all these like insane like sci-fi books, this feels like the culmination of a lot of that. And Bungie's very intentional with like these sort of like themes of like humanity, capitalism. I and again I went back and I've compared like each of their big three series. If like Halo is like post 9/11 paranoia, in us going to war, right? And Destiny in 1 and 2 is like that post Obama like hope. This is like post like Biden and post Trump's like second term like cynicism and like the dangers of like the gig economy
Yeah.
and like all
AI.
this stuff. It's such oh yeah, our over reliance on like artificial intelligence. Everything here, it feels like the culmination of what they've been trying to do in a very niche and focused game mode. It's interesting that like we're all getting so much out of this when it's just the one mode. It's an extraction mode, and it's very much like it's like a roguelike almost, right?
Oh yeah.
You're dying, coming back, dying. That thing that you said, like you kind of stuck with it. I felt the way I felt with it was if you played like a roguelike, I never get mad dying in those games because it's like, okay, I know how I can be better. Marathon's kind of the same way, where I'm like, oh, all right, that run didn't really go well. Let me go ahead and like, now I know. Let me position myself better. Let me not be so hate. Let me not be so aggressive. Maybe I should be even more aggressive. Yada yada, this and that. Let me just kill every rook I see because those bastards had it coming.
Oh yeah.
Things like that,
Oh
right?
yeah.
I, but I'm. It's cool that you're enjoying it. Did you play Arc? Like a lot of Arc Raiders?
I played a decent amount of Ark, and it's interesting. I know that extraction shooters have become kind of more a dime a dozen now at this point, and they're kind of copying each other in some ways. So a lot of those elements that are in Ark are also in Marathon 2 as well. I really like Arc 2, and I don't want to compare them, but I do think that at least with Marathon, I'm a bit more likely to want to play that game longer because for whatever reason with Arc Raiders, it feels like the level of skill that's there is so much higher than I anticipated. And it's not that there isn't a high skill level too in Marathon, but I do think that at least you can use the AI robots to your benefit. You at least have some areas where you can kind of hide and all this different kind of stuff. Arc is, I think, I, I guess the best way that I found it was that, like, if you have a team that's in constant communication, you're going to do well. But with Marathon, it's not the same level of communication in the sense where it's like with Arc, people can know where you are, where, like, like, they could hear you fighting, they could ping you, all that different kind of stuff. But everything's kind of slower and more methodical. Marathon, you're basically running into your point with, like, the Halo and Destiny kind of combat that's there. So it's definitely much quicker pace and everything like that. But I just felt like the skill level with Arc, because it's almost a bit more difficult, those people who are so good make it almost that much more challenging in a way, if it makes sense. And at least with Marathon, there's a bit more approachability, to your point, where if you die a lot, well, it's okay, because I can load in with the free kit or the sponsor kit, like I mentioned earlier, and kind of get right back out there and still pull away a lot from it. I feel like I'm able to get so much more done in a run in Marathon than I am with Arc. So it feels like the rewards are better there. And to your point, there's also the lore too as well. And I guess there's a little bit with Arc Raiders, but definitely not as much. I also think too as well that with Marathon, it does at least a good job of, like, hey, these contracts that you're completing give you some good items. So even if you die, but you completed your contract, there's still incentive to keep on going. With Arc, it's really like, no, you really have to scrounge and really fight and scrap and find all these different items in order to really keep on going. But I still really enjoy Arc too as well. What I do like really well about Arc is I really think the AI is just makes that game very suspenseful. Sometimes I feel like the AI in Marathon is a little bit too unforgiving, to the point where it's like, okay, how did that robot see me all the way across the other side of the map? Come on now.
I no no I 100% agree. Those bots are. I think those bots are worse than players.
Yeah,
1000%. Like, they really do feel that way. The main thing with Ark, and the little I played of it, it does seem like that game does not reward PvP as much as Marathon does. Marathon's interesting because the game is actively telling you, hey, don't engage with other players. It's not, like, safe, but we all do compulsively, right?
right.
Like, it's
Yeah,
like that thing where it's like the game's not telling us to do, but we're like, no, I need to kill, like, this other person because it could end badly for me. I don't want to lose everything. In Ark, I feel like there's a lot more. You're kind of like an asshole if you kill someone.
oh
Like,
yeah,
you're kind of like the bad guy in Arc Raid, but in Marathon, it's just part of survival. So
right.
it's a fascinating, like, dichotomy there. The main, I guess, I don't know what it is. I think Arc Raiders, I like the way it feels, like the actual moment to moment gameplay and everything. It's just, I don't know, Marathon. There's just something about it. Again, it might just be my Bungie, like, my Bungified brain, just like seeing and associating, like, oh, this combat's so good, everything like that. I think that's just what it is. But I'm glad both kind of exist in this space where it's like
I do
they
too.
can pull from each other. They
It's
can
good to
pull
have
from
that
each other.
variety,
Again,
right?
competition, right? It's
Yeah.
a big thing. That's cool. Are you playing anything else? You watching anything else? Like, what have you been up to aside
So,
from Marathon?
so it's funny that we're talking about, like, AI and things like that, because this is definitely the year of video games making comments or making references to AI. So the other video game that I've been playing is Pragmata, the newest third-person shooter from Capcom. And I don't know if you've had a chance to see too much gameplay footage of it, CJ, but it is really meeting the hype. I know it's been getting a lot of good reviews. It uses the same RE engine as Resident Evil games, the recent Resident Evil games, and it's kind of a throwback game. Honestly, it feels like old school in all the right ways. I'm only maybe about like 15 hours in, but I've been told that it takes on average about 25 hours to complete the whole game. And to me, that's perfect. More games like that, please, because it focuses on telling a simple, linear story that has a lot of heart between your two main characters. And I'm going to be shouting about this game from the rooftops for quite some time because I do think it's one of the best games that I've played this year, along with Marathon, of course. And basically, it's about a astronaut that goes to a lunar base on the moon. He ends up finding out that the lunar base has been taken over by AI robots that have wiped out everybody on the base. And he has to try and survive to get off the base and return to Earth. But thankfully, he's aided with some help from a android that actually is a little girl, and it's just this cute little, almost practically a dad simulator type video game where
Like
this,
Lone Wolf and Cub,
yeah,
that kind of like
uh-huh,
thing.
Mandalorian and Grogu, all that good stuff.
Oh my god. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
hey, look, everything copies everything, right?
Everything is everything.
Yeah, yeah, I don't even mind as long as you put your own spin on it, you make it memorable, and that's what Pragmata is. So Hugh is the main male character, and then Diana is the little android girl, and it's just a perfect dynamic. You love seeing the relationship develop and really, just kind of develop this bond of father and daughter. It's just perfect, and I can't wait to see where the game goes. The gameplay mechanic you would think would get old, but basically, as an android, she hacks the robots that you're fighting so you can exploit their weaknesses and therefore use like your weapons as Hugh to shoot them down. So basically, you're hacking and then shooting. You would think that would get old, but it never does. If anything, it's really gripping combat, and it really makes it really kind of fast and furious and just intense at points. Because again, the robots, here it is again, really, really tough robots, just like in Marathon, provide a good challenge, but it feels really well balanced. Now, I do know that after playing it on standard difficulty right now, there's also lunatic difficulty afterwards, which I probably will not be good at, but I do think the standard difficulty has been really great. Highly recommend this game.
Yeah, I'm curious about it. It's cool that Capcom's been on this roll, right, with like stuff like Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma, the Resident Evil games. I love the aesthetic of this game. Very sci-fi, right? Very like space-y. Like I really do like dig the aesthetic and everything like that. It's the actual gameplay hook from what I've seen. It's kind of unique. It's really cool. It's like this would have existed on the Xbox 360.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like it would have been like a Lost Planet 3, like, or something, right? Like that sort of level of like game, and it would have been, what do you call it, like acclaimed like ages later. That's really cool. Are you in anything else? Is there anything else you've been like checking out that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, outside of video games, there's plenty of other great things that are going on right now. So if you want to switch it over to any other genre or any other geekdom here, but maybe this is a good segue for me to talk about the books that I've been reading.
Yeah, what have you been reading?
So I decided to check out a medieval horror book that's written by Christopher Buehlman. The book came out, I think, in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken, but it got republished recently into a hardcover. And simply put, when you hear medieval horror, like, you're probably in for something really grim and really intense, and that book is definitely it. The book is called Between Two Fires, and basically you play as the book is about a disgraced knight who at one point finds a little girl that somehow has survived a plague-ridden village. And again, I don't know how this happened here. I did not intend it for it to be this way. Again, it's another thing that I'm experiencing right now that involves a father figure with the little girl. Promise I didn't intend to have a secondary topic of discussion be about that dynamic, but basically it's very fantastical. So it kind of, it deals with the Plague and all that kind of stuff, and there's also monsters and like these demons from hell that have come up. It's really, really interesting, and it's just a very breezy read too, which is kind of nice. I was a bit worried when I started that I would be like reading dialogue to be like, "Thou hast found my sword," and thou, stuff like that. I didn't want to be reading Shakespeare, right? But it reads very straightforward, like in a kind of prose that's very uh, relatable for the average reader in this day and age. And I think that's what makes it such an easy read to go through. I think it's very captivating. I think it's very, very like intense at points because again, it's dealing with the plague. It's like, oh, it's a new chapter. We meet this new character, and they're dead. That kind of happens again and again and again. But I've been really enjoying it because it's just got really, really, really intense imagery with the monsters that are described throughout it. So I really like that kind of imaginative aspect about the book.
That's pretty cool. Let me real quick. I'll talk about the books I've been reading have mostly been So what is it? Like I talked about this before. And a major theme of this pod is like kind of me like tracking and like keeping log of like what I've been like up to as far as like the things like repetition, right? So we're back with another Star Wars book. I'm reading Darth Bane Rule of Two by Drew Karpyshyn. I think that's how you pronounce his name. So I've been reading a lot more, trying to read a lot more in general. I'm
It's
like
a good thing to do.
I've almost hit my goal on Goodreads for like books read this year. I set it to 15, and not counting like graphic novels, I'm at 9 now to start the year.
Nice.
So I'm doing pretty well. So I've been reading a lot of Star Wars books too, because what is it? The advice I always tell you is read the stuff that you liked when you were younger, get back into it. 2024 I read like a lot. 2025 I fell out of it. So this year I've been obsessed with like lore and like the like big universe stuff. Like I'm like, oh, okay, let me look into Warhammer, let me look into Halo, let me look into all this stuff. Star Wars has like been this thing, and I've talked about it a million times, where it's like they kind of lost me for a while. I've been out of it, but then I realized, oh, the thing that like kept me away from Star Wars was like actually talking about it and not like experiencing it in different ways. I would always try to go watch the TV shows, which I'll talk about in a second.
Couldn't agree
And
more on
they
your
never
point, by the way. I definitely want to elaborate on what you're saying here when you're done.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been going back to like the old like EU, like the Legend stuff, right? Like the stuff that I grew up with. I used to read a lot of these books and really dive into like the old video games and things like that. So I'm reading Darth Bane Rule of Two, which is a sequel to Darth Bane Path of Destruction. This is set. When is this set? Within like the Legends timeline. I wrote it down. 1000 BBY, before the Battle of Yavin. So it's like 1,000 years before New Hope. And it's about Darth Bane. He one of the earliest like Sith Lords. He developed the Rule of Two, right? One master, one person to rule under them. There can't be any more than that. The Sith sort of code, and it's about him kind of trying to rebuild like that sort of rule, that sort of like philosophy this takes place after the Old Republic era, after the Sith have been wiped out. He killed a bunch of them. This is set like after that first, spoilers for that first book, I apologize, but it's set after that first book. It's a really interesting like look. I'm a huge fan of the Old Republic. I love that era. I love that when Star Wars gets into like telling stories in like the thousands of like years right in between. It's such a cool thing that you can be so divorced from like everything that happened in the original trilogy, everything that happened in the prequel trilogy. It's just its own kind of thing, and you can go crazy with it. So that's sort of where I'm at now. I've been taking notes on like a lot of interesting things. They've made references to like this ancient Jedi that I read a comic about. Have you ever read the Tales of the Jedi comics from the 90s?
I think I have. That really sounds familiar. I might have like read an issue or two.
That's like pre Old Republic or like around that era. So it's like early. You read those comics now, they're insane. Like the art's insane. It looks like a fantasy, like this weird fantasy book that you shouldn't be reading, right? So messed up. Like it's the coolest thing in the world. So that's sort of where I've been like focusing on, right? I really love the Old Republic. I'm reading the Knights of the Old Republic like comic series, the Dark Horse one. It's like a 50-issue series that's set, I believe, before the video game. So it's
Okay.
right before then. Then the main character is like trying to like investigate like these corrupt Jedi within the Order. I love this whole thing. The What Star Wars is like, it's cool when it's like this big thing that you can kind of like find your niche. I'm a huge fan of like the Old Republic. I like a lot of like the military science fiction aspect of it. So I read like the first Republic Commandos novel by Karen Travis. What's it called? Republic Commandos. Oh, it's gonna bug me. Hold up. I gotta get the name.
Well,
Republic Commando.
while you're looking up that, I just wanted to elaborate. You had a really good point, and it's funny that you say it because I've said the same thing too as well. I just want to enjoy Star Wars again. I feel like it's gone on long enough with me where I've gotten too caught up in, and I think again you also mentioned this too, all the nonsense that goes on with fans and all the negativity that's online. And it's not that I really participated in it or really ever wanted to like, you know, read into it too much, but there is a certain level of just like it's in the zeitgeist, right? People complaining about the sequels, people complaining about the prequels, all that different kind of stuff. But you bring up such a major point that Star Wars is much more than the movies. And there's so much baggage that's brought into so many different things. Not everything is going to work. And yeah, okay, Star Wars has a lot of stuff that comes out now, be it comic books, movies, TV shows, etc. But I do think there's still some really good stuff there. And even when it's not like, okay, revolutionary, it's still a lot of fun. And that's how I feel about Star Wars Outlaws. I've been loving that game. And yeah,
Nice.
is it very, very similar to Assassin's Creed and a lot of other open world Ubisoft games? Of course. But I think that game got trashed and it didn't deserve it. And there's actually so many cool things in that game. And I've been absolutely loving it. I don't know why I didn't think of the game earlier. It's been a minute because I've just been distracted with Marathon and Pragmata recently. But just you talking about Star Wars now made me want to get back into that game again because I really love that world and just all the great detail in it. It's such a shame that that was just kind of review bombed by all the like just all the negativity with the fans. And, you know, then they were like, oh, we're not going to make a sequel because honestly, I think it's a great game.
I reviewed it at launch. My plan is to go back to it with the DLC and kind of start over a fresh like playthrough, see what they fixed. The novel's called Hard Contact. It's a solid like Clone Wars era military like science fiction. I recommend. I have the second book that I got to read. But yeah, to your point, Star Wars is kind of everything. So for me, like I said, I love the Old Republic. I love military sci-fi. I love the Mandalorians like as like a whole, right? I love that aspect of like of everything. I like the history within like this world because it's so big and it's like so expansive. Even with the canon stuff, people keep recommending I read the High Republic stuff because that's set, I believe, about 200 years before Phantom Menace, and that's also like a big part of like the overarching like theme. I like that there's like the two, like, okay, there's canon and there's like the legends, the old EU stuff that's like not canon but they're bringing stuff in, or also it's still there, I can still access it. I don't know why
Right.
everyone's complaining. It's like you could still read all this stuff.
Yeah,
So that's
I think
basically where
people
I've been
just
at.
need to make somebody into a villain. They just can't let go of.
Granted, look, I've talked about this, and it's funny because I'm trying to like I'm hyping myself with everything, but like I always like try to tell everybody, look, I don't love the Disney stuff either, but I am criticizing it in a and it's kind of creatively bankrupt, not in a I'm a chud and I hate women and people of color kind of way. I gotta make that distinction right here. All right, I'm not all right. What is it? You hate Kathleen Kennedy because she's a woman. I kind of don't like her because she kind of messed Star Wars up in like a way where I don't think Disney can kind of like recover.
I don't even
In
know
like
if
a weird
she's
thing.
really to blame though. And
She's not really to blame. No, I know. I think Abrams is probably to blame even more. I think Force Awakens did more damage to movies in general, than anything else. It's like a whole thing, right? Although now and again, I'm trying to be positive and everything like that. I still think my villain, like you said, everyone needs to make a villain. I have villains to make too. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are probably like at the top of my like, ooh, buddy, you ruined this thing I like. Book of Boba Fett's not great. I finished it this morning as of recording. They were recording this. We're recording on Tuesday. I finished it because I'm trying to catch up before this new Mandalorian movie, right? Because the first Star Wars movie we're getting in 9 years. No, sorry, 7 years. The first Star Wars movie we're getting in like 7 years is a basically like $200 million Netflix movie. So I'm like, okay, I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up with 3 seasons of a TV show I had no interest in watching. 1 season of like a spin-off show that features my favorite Star Wars character that also looked bad. Right? Just to kind of understand this, because like I get it. I don't know why I'm gonna go watch it in theaters. I kind of have to out of like this weird compulsion because I love Star Wars. But I know it's not gonna be great. The fact that it's called The Mandalorian and Grogu, like you have to go look at someone and tell them, hey, I want 1 ticket to The Mandalorian and Grogu. Like you like that doesn't like that brings like a weird sense of like, oh, okay. Anyway, Book of Boba Fett's not great.
I think to your point, that's one of those kind of things where we as Star Wars fans just have to kind of let go of. I get it, like I do. I don't even think that you're necessarily wrong. I do think at the same time that some of the Star Wars stuff is never going to be more surface level than we want it to be. And I know we should always be like striving to be better, but I do think that Star Wars was flawed from the beginning. And I remember when
It
I did G4D, I said at one point that like Star Wars is, is sacred because it was something that we grew up with as kids, but it really isn't that sacred. It stopped being sacred the second it became a major hit at the movies. It was always going to go this route. Yeah, you can like there's definitely valid criticisms to be had towards Disney, but I do think at the same time I don't think it would really be treated better by anybody else. It's just too big now.
100%. I think my main thing is this, and like I again this morning I finished like I watched the last episode of Book of Boba Fett, and I'm like I'm gonna write notes. I wrote like deranged notes. This reads like the scribblings of like someone who's gonna go like AWOL, right? um, and I think ultimately my main problem is this. I was texting a friend of mine, friend of the show, Maddie. I was texting them every time something kind of like was off or like made me mad. I think the one thing that kind of broke me was there are 2 things that broke me. One, seeing Cad Bane, a character from a cartoon I've never watched, in live action. And I'm like, who is this for? This is pandering. This is no longer like I would get it if they're trying to pander to like young kids, right? That's what you do. But I think now it's pandering to an audience that like grew up with a specific version of Star Wars, and they have to kind of keep churning things out. I talked about this last week too. It's like Last Jedi broke everyone's brain, where it became a full-time job to either defend it or hate it. So the people who hated it were like the vocal majority, and now everything has to like be as like the safest thing ever. Bo-Katan, I've never heard of a Bo-Katan. Why is she a character in my live action Star Wars show? Like what are we doing here? Or what is it? There are references. Oh my god, the one that made me mad, and I talked about it last week too, and I got to bring it up again, and because I'm sure you'll appreciate it. There's a bit in Book of Boba. There's a bit in Book of Boba Fett. I'm stuttering. Where it becomes like a mini Mandalorian season for whatever reason.
Oh yeah.
In it, the Mandalorian is flying a prequel era starfighter. So there's some prequel nostalgia for people my age who again, if there are people who say that Revenge of the Sith is their favorite Star Wars movie, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I don't like that movie that much. Anyway, he's flying that, and then he also says that was pretty wizard. He's using the word wizard as an adjective. Do you remember where they used that first?
Wasn't
That
that
was
in
in
Phantom Menace?
That was in the Phantom Menace when one of the alien kids at the pod race is telling Anakin, "That's so wizard, Annie." Like that's so that like made me mad because it's like, okay, yeah, I'm being pandered to. Or the end of Mandalorian season 2, spoilers for an episode of a show that's like 6 years old with the CGI Luke, right? Like, oh my god, this the AI voice Luke Skywalker, the digital, and oh my god, it's become this thing where it's just like I hate being overly negative, but it really does bum me out. Also, this is called Book of Boba Fett, and they've completely like that I think that hurts me even more, right? My favorite character is a character that is barely a character, but I still somehow feel hurt by this by this TV show for Kaya.
No,
What
I
did they
get it.
do
I
to
get it.
my fat bald, what is it, New Zealand son? Like what did they do to him? There's some interesting things in the show. I do love the Tusken Raiders arc where he's kind of like living among them and he's like training with them, and there's like an emotional connection to that. I do love. I hated the armor initially, but I kind of grew to like it. I kind of dig the way it looks. There's like some weird things like, why is Grogu back with Mandalorian? What was the whole point of like him training and going away just to kind of be brought back? You could have done something better to kind. I don't know. It just feels kind of lazy.
I
This
think
would have
the
been
problem
better.
is Star Wars is trying to be everything for everybody right now. It needs to
Right.
really hone in. And I think probably the only one that's been able to really hone in, like from a story perspective, has been not Rogue One, but Andor.
And I
Because
have to watch it. Yes.
yeah, because that's its own thing, right? And I haven't seen the second season. The first season's fantastic. I've been meaning to get to the second season, but it felt like, okay, this wasn't being made with the purpose of trying to make everybody happy and then having people go, to your point, oh hey, there's this thing that's familiar. And I I don't want to be so cynical about those kind of things because I do know plenty of people that love seeing those things.
Oh no, for sure. My whole thing is like this. There's like a difference between like cool callbacks and like references versus like there's, and I talked about this last week again, in one of the Mandalorian episodes, Ahsoka Tano, a cartoon character in my live action Star Wars show, played by Rosario Dawson, which is the most distracting thing ever, mentions Grand Admiral Thrawn in a way that's like meant for like the audience to like clap. It's that like Avengers style thing where they reference something and my thing. Okay, so one, what is it? It's the. Have you seen that tweet? That's like the Glup Shido tweet.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Star Wars fans are like, that this entire show, and these two shows have been that. Like they've been that's the whole Glup Shido thing. So that's what I was like making jokes about it. Like the Mandalorian movie is gonna introduce like the absolute most like, oh my god, this only like some nerd who like, what is it, goes to Wikipedia like every day and is like, oh my god, I know who this is. Or some sort of like big thing like that. I heard season 3 gets worse. I haven't started it yet. I heard season 3 of The Mandalorian gets worse, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I gotta
haven't
power
started
through
it
it.
either.
I
To
gotta
your point, I
power
heard
through
the same stuff. So yeah. Ooh.
I think that's my main thing. This specific show, Book of Boba Fett, I feel like it was a missed opportunity if they could have done maybe like an anthology series, a space western series, something, but it feels like they kind of lost focus or they were scared and they needed to wrap up some storylines and they're like, all right, screw it, let's just throw it into this. Because I think the characters kind of like put on ice now. They're not going to do anything with Boba Fett, which, that hurts me personally. Like that to me is like, oh man. Have you read any of the old like EU novels or the old comics?
I
Like,
have.
were you ever tuned into
Yeah.
those? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really tell you which ones offhand because as a
There's too
kid,
many.
I loved Star Wars and probably didn't read them in any kind of order. I probably have them like, stored away in some kind of box in my parents' attic. And really, at the end of the day, I think the key thing for me when I was a kid was like, hey, it's more Star Wars. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to that point where it's like, hey, it's more Star Wars and be excited about it, as opposed to like, oh, what are they going to do? Like, is this going to be good? Letting go of the expanded universe, it's like, okay, I get it. I get why it's being done. You don't want the baggage. You don't want to have to, try and really connect the dots with, stories that by all accounts aren't really going to be read by anybody except like our generation or older. But I do think that with Star Wars, the challenge that just constantly comes up for me right now is having a vision where we can move beyond Skywalkers. And I don't know what's going to happen with the sequels to the sequel trilogy, but it's time to move beyond that. I would really like
Yeah,
that. I know it won't happen. I'm sure we'll, to your point, get Mark Hamill showing up as a Force ghost, and what would be, I'm trying to think of the episodes. It'd be episode 10, right? Which
what
would
is
be
it?
the next
No,
one.
we're gonna get AI generated Alec Guinness, or what is it? Yeah, yeah, you're laughing. It's gonna happen. So yeah,
Ah,
oh my god. Okay, last week last week I was making a joke that like I predicted, oh, Jar Jar is gonna show up in the Mandalorian movie and like have a scene connecting with Grogu. But no, here's my new prediction. You ready? Watch the space. All
okay.
right, we're gonna get Force Ghost Alec Guinness talking to Grogu, and he's gonna give him a whole spiel about like using the Force and everything like that. Because this the story set after Jedi, right? So Yoda's dead. The Empire's fallen and everything. So we're gonna get we're gonna get the worst CG composite of Alec Guinness. Or we'll get, if they're really like cowardly in a way, they're gonna get like Ewan McGregor in like white like hair makeup and everything like that to do like they like I wouldn't put it past them. It's just a bizarre thing. I've been I've been having fun kind of going through the expanded universe. I even found like the old role playing like source books that are chock full of like lore. Like I found a website that has a bunch of scans of these old like role playings, and I'm like, oh my god. So my whole thing now has been kind of like connecting like all these different like eras of like the old expanded universe, while also trying to like watch through all the Disney era stuff, since that's like the current canon. So I've been it's been fun kind of juggling the two, because again, Star Wars is huge. It's fascinating. It's like it's this big world that like has like so many moving parts. It just bums me out that the most mainstream representation is like the most like pandering, and again, there is a movie in theaters called The Mandalorian and Grogu. Like you have to like say that whole thing. Like how do you market that? Like how do you do how do you know it's like, and again, I hate, it's a Netflix movie. That's what it looks like. It looks like Red Dawn, not Red Dawn. What was the Red Notice? But they put it in theaters.
Yeah, but
Like
Martin Scorsese has a guest appearance as an alien
that
character.
that
Come on now.
I hope he got paid. I hope he got paid a stupid
Oh, of
amount of
course he
money. I
did.
hope he's like
Of course
I
he
hope
did.
I hope I hope he's gonna what is it, fund whatever he wants for like decades after this, because that hurt me the most when I found that out. Like that something in my like soul felt like a little off. I'm like, oh, Marty, no. Marty, no. Jeremy Allen White plays the grown up version of the baby Hut from the Clone Wars cartoon movie. Like that's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
do.
that's where.
I do. I think with that kind of stuff, honestly, at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Sure. Why not? Let's let's get Daniel Day Lewis being Salacious Crumb. Come on. Let's just do it. Let's go for broke here. All
What
right?
is it? Yeah. Let's get. That's why, like, if Grogu talks, I want, what is it, John Benjamin to voice him. Like,
Oh my gosh.
and,
Oh my
and he just
gosh.
and he just talks normally. He doesn't talk like that. He's just like, yo, what's up? Hey, it's me. It's me.
It's your boy.
What did I say? What did I on one podcast I said, or I think I've like tell, but it's like the most pandering. I think the worst one, the worst nuke they could drop. Cal Kestis becomes like a character in the live action stuff. because you can tell that guy really wants to be in the movies. You can tell he really like they're really like they really want to throw him in there. Have you played the Jedi games, like the new ones?
I played the first one, really enjoyed it. I do want to play the second one.
Second one's great. I think it came out like everyone's talking about the 3-year anniversary this year. That game's great. Like that's a really good Star Wars. But again, it also falls into the problems I have with like it having to be canon and it having to connect to the larger
I know. I
story
know.
because they really can't, because it takes place in a weird era, right? So the first game was in between 3 and 4, so they can't do anything world altering because the story kind of has to happen. I think
Yeah.
that's like the main thing with it, but it's still solid. The second one has a much better story. I think it's improved overall. I think I recommend it a lot, especially if you like Outlaws for like the like that sort of vibe. If you want
Mhm.
like a good Jedi game, like Jedi Survivor is like a better Jedi game than Fallen Order. Fallen Order, a lot of it felt like, okay, it's a Souls game, Metroid game, Uncharted game mixed in one. Jedi Survivor is a Star Wars game like through and through. Like it feels much closer to Star Wars and like a Jedi like kind of thing.
Okay.
You can like
Interesting.
yeah, you can dismember stormtroopers, which was like a big deal. Like that was like the hypest thing in the world. The new stances are really cool. I recommend it. If you pick it up on sale one of these days, I definitely recommend it. It's like the upper echelon of like Star Wars games now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really think, you know, its shortcomings and all, Star Wars Outlaws. Granted, I was playing it after they made a lot of updates, and I got the DLC on sale too, like dirt cheap. So I really think at the end of the day, for Star Wars, not to belabor a point, I just want to enjoy it. And I think to your point about Mandalorian and Grogu, I think I know what I'm getting into when I go into it.
Yeah, 100%.
And
100%.
it's it
I sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I know that sounds kind of negative, but it's just it has become something different than I think the first season was, which to your point earlier was like that lone wolf and cub type of dynamic. And it's fine if that's the direction it's going because, it's at the end of the day Star Wars exists to make money. And I know again that's a very
Mm-hmm.
cynical viewpoint to have, but that's that's why it's there more than anything. So it's like if I can continue to get things like Rogue One and Andor every once in a while, okay, that's good by me. I don't need to check out everything. I think the video games overall have been pretty good. I remember a lot of people hating Battlefront 2, but now they love it. And it's like the
Oh my god, that
potential was
game.
always there. It was always
Mm-hmm.
there. But it's just so easy to hate on stuff when it carries the name from another previously beloved rendition of it. And I don't think that's fair to do anymore. I think I've been trying, especially with Star Wars, more than any other franchise, is to just enjoy it for what it's worth. Now, are there things that I don't want to watch of Star Wars? Absolutely. But that's fine because I've got things like Andor and whatnot. I think at the end of the day, Star Wars, if it tries to be everything for everybody in one show, that's a problem. I think the stories, however good they might be in the initial run through, like they need to stay on track and to your point, not divert into something else like it did with Book of Boba Fett, which I think is a completely valid criticism. And maybe it was done because they weren't sure, like, if the shows were going to be hanging around that long. But I do think that, like, if you have the Star Wars that are for the fans that they like the references, but then you have a Star Wars for people who want something a bit more military, and then you have the Star Wars that maybe, like, I don't know, you did a series about like a pod racer and it's filled with like cool chase sequences and high speed racing. Like, I'm all about it. But to your point, I think all the Easter eggs, more than anything, have become too overwhelming, and we don't need to stretch out any key story points anymore. Your point about Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order is a good one too, because it's like you're trying to squeeze in all these things here. It's like, oh, there was another Jedi that wasn't taken
Yes.
down.
Yeah, that wasn't killed. Yeah, it's like a weird. And that's the thing. And again, as good as it, same thing with even Outlaws to an extent. It's like it's set after. I believe it's set. That one's set after Jedi as well. Like it's set after Return of the Jedi.
I think so.
Like
Yeah.
the era.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pretty
it's
sure.
like, okay, so man, we're really not leaving this thing. Again, I want to see what's happening after the sequel trilogy, right? Like this is at this point, go further or go back. Go back to the High Republic stuff if you want to go. It's a weird thing. It's real quick, and before we go into the main topic, because this kind of falls into all that. Have you seen the trailers for the racing game?
Yes. I hope it's good, because I
Um,
loved pod racing back in the day in 64.
It's the old Criterion guys, like the coming into development, which is cool.
Oh, I didn't
Like,
know
it's like
that.
a bunch of, yeah. So old Need for Speed and Burnout, which to me is like, yeah, all right.
Oh,
I'm not a big fan
Yeah.
of futuristic racing games. Like I don't love F-Zero or Wipeout, but I feel like this is like a good, like, it's Star Wars. I'll check it out just because of that, right? Like by virtue of it being Star Wars. But that, and then also the Zero Company, the strategy game. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that. That's not I It's not that I think those type of games are bad by any means necessary, but they're not usually my cup of tea, but it does look really good.
It's interesting because they're doing a lot more story stuff with it, so I'm hoping it has like those Mass Effect KOTOR like vibes, just with like turn-based combat. Because like KOTOR is like one of my favorite games of all time, but I can't go back and play it because the combat has not aged well at all. Like it's a really hard sell to kind of like try again. And what is it? That new Fate of the Old Republic that was announced at the Game Awards, like, I don't
Yeah.
know when that's coming out, but I mean,
I mean,
I'm all over it. Like,
I
and then the Knights of the Old Republic remake that's seemingly dead, not coming. But I don't even know. It's like nothing exists anymore. Nothing exists.
well, I mean, isn't that the terrible thing? Because it's like these video games are so expensive to make, and when people just trash them and they don't do well, all that happens is a bunch of people lose their jobs, but the big people that make the decisions, they're fine, and if anything, they get bonuses. And with video
Yep.
games, it's just so frustrating to just see, like, not to keep on harping on it, but Star Wars Outlaws got totally bombed by people that were like, look what they did to this woman's face. And it's like, oh my god, this
Yeah.
is out of
Rip.
control. And like I said, I think it's a good game. It's maybe not a masterpiece, but it did not deserve the hate that it got. And I feel like if it had done well, who knows what else could have come out of that. And that's what frustrates me. Like, the negativity from the video game community is out of control now, in my opinion. And it means that people lose jobs. If you don't want a video game, that's fine. You don't have to buy it. But the amount of hate that influences and builds more hate, I can't stand anymore.
What is it? Hate is the path to dark. Path to dark. So my main question for you today, then, we've yapped too much about Star Wars. Star Wars is like a big thing. Star Wars and Bungie, the two things I talk about on this podcast, like more than anything. Like it's basically me trying to get into both. My main thing, though, it's funny because we kind of went into like fans and everything like that. You and I like have spent years talking a lot about like video games, movies, and music, right? Like it's a lot of different like Speaking of, oh my god, one more tangent, but
Bring it
I have
on,
to
bring it on. I
specifically.
love it.
Did you see Clips' Coachella set?
Yes, I did.
Oh my god. You know what? I expected them to I expected Pusha to mostly do like obviously stuff from the last album, which I love. That album's amazing, and some of his solo stuff. The fact that they went back to all like their old stuff, crazy. That crowd did not deserve that because
No,
they
they
were
did
not
not.
into it. Like,
No, they did not.
oh my god, but that it was the only thing was missing. Pharrell should have been there. That was like the only
Yeah.
thing that was missing. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, but everything about it was the sickest thing. The way it was shot, the camera. Oh my god, the camera work on that was incredible. I was like hyped. I was so hyped. I was like watching it while playing Destiny 2's like PvP mode. and I'm like, I was like getting like amped up. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm gonna go murder people now because in my video game because it's what is it? Pusha T. He raps like he's holding a flashlight under his
Yeah.
face. Oh my god! Hear it. What is it? Mike Tyson blow to the face like live like that. Oh my
Oh yeah,
god, brutal.
so good,
Incredible.
so good, so good. Yeah, I loved it. I loved
Anything.
that performance, and Nine Inch Nails were like my highlights.
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch that one. I have it saved though. I gotta watch. It's been an interesting year for music where the Gorillas are touring with
Del the
Deltron.
Funky, yeah, yeah,
Oh
huge,
my god,
huge.
that's great. Like Gorillas, great band, but for me, Dell, like one of my all time favorite Rick rappers, 100%. Like my favorite West Coast rapper. Everyone has Dre, everyone has Tupac, everyone has like all Snoop. For me, it's Dell. Dell's like the guy. He has been the guy for me forever, and that to me is like the most mind blowing thing in the entire world. That I will probably be able to go see Dell in
Quick
concert.
story about
Crazy.
him. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to see him at a small venue here. It was for Deltron 3030, and I think it was prior to the second album coming out. So it was him, it was Dan the Automator, and trying to think. Geez, why am I blanking on who the DJ artist was? But it was also Juan from the Mars Volta. The bassist from the Mars Volta was there too. But
No way.
Deltron, when he came out, he rolled up on the stage on a skateboard. It was perfect. It was absolutely
He's the
perfect.
coolest. Nah, he's genuinely the coolest dude in the entire. I love him again. Even
Yeah.
like everything from his verses on Clint Eastwood to like his solo stuff. What is it? If You Must on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 soundtrack, formative. Yeah, exactly. Or that beat is insane. Or what was it? Cyberpunk's off of like that him making references to like all it's incredible. Like he's basically on that like Wu-Tang or Beastie Boys level of like you just take all the stuff you like and put them in like a song and it'll be like the greatest thing in the world. It's
It
like the
really
greatest
is.
thing ever.
It really
If you
is.
like sci-fi, he made like raps about sci-fi and it's like the nerdiest thing ever, but man, he makes it cool. Speaking of nerd stuff, you and I, like I said, we're kind of fans of a lot of different things. How would you sort of like define your own perception of fandom or your own fandom in general, right, as it's grown? Because you have like a very wide like variety of taste. I think so. We record these usually on Wednesdays, but I couldn't on this Wednesday because somebody told me Wednesday is comic book day, which is such a funny thing because that's what this question kind of goes to. It's like, oh yeah, you have a thing that you like that you make sure it fits into your routine. So again, how would you sort of define it?
So I remember in the instructions you said to make it one word. So I feel like the one word, and it might be kind of an obvious one. It's infatuation.
Mm-hmm.
100%. I think with anything that I'm a huge fan of, I have to go all in on it. But it's I think what's exciting about any kind of fandom, anything, be it music, books, video games, etc., I feel like that envelops me in a way where maybe it sounds a bit like cheesy or maybe a bit dramatic, but when I'm really into something and I'm really in that world, I'm walking and living through my life in that world. So let's say there's an album that I really listened to recently that I absolutely love and I haven't been able to get out of my head. I've been playing it over and over. I will be somewhere and the vibe of that music, let's say I'm going, you know, said grocery shopping earlier, going grocery shopping, and that vibe will stick with me as I'm shopping for groceries. I think what's so great about fandom now, too, in this day and age, is that we have so many different things at our fingertips that there's like no excuse to not try and find something new. Everybody has different tastes, everybody likes certain things, but I also think too that like there's no reason to stay on stuff that you don't like. Fandom isn't about, in my opinion, about hating something. It doesn't mean you can't have criticisms. It doesn't mean you have to like every aspect of whatever that fandom is. But there is certainly a certain sense of like you're a part of it. You are responsible for the success of that fandom. Like whether it's buying that movie ticket, whether it's, going to the concert, buying the book, it doesn't matter. You're an active participant in that fandom growing and becoming something special. And so for me, as someone who can go as far back as I can to being a Batman fan, because like we said earlier, it always does come back to Batman. I remember being a fan of Batman right when I was a little kid, watching the Adam West reruns and probably watching the Batman movie at the first Michael Keaton one at way too young of an age, but it didn't matter. Like, it's amazing that for me, Batman has stayed such a strong and beloved character for me through all these years. But I think the reason why it sticks with me is because fandom ends up being something bigger than most people realize. Like that's the intention behind it. When you take your passion behind something and you're, like I said, living it, it's a whole nother entity. It's a whole nother personality. It's a whole nother being that you become. And for me, it's just, yeah, it's pure infatuation because I live it. I live it every single day.
So I like that infatuation because like I've always liked what I've liked, right? And obviously I kind of like opened myself up to other things, but it took me a while to kind of learn to like love the things that like I've been into. I think there's a lot of shame, a lot of weird, like out of fear of like sounding being like a little cringy or whatever. But I've been sort of letting go of that shame. Star Wars has been a big part of that, where this is like the thing where it's like I've liked this since I was young. I grew out of it. I'm kind of back in, and I don't care anymore. Like I'm on
That's the
Bluesky
best
talking
attitude to
about.
have, though. That's honestly
I
the
think
best
that's what it
attitude
is,
to have.
right? So I think so. I like what you said though, because it's like the idea. It's like the thing that you inhabit and all this stuff. You kind of own it, right? Batman's yours. Like you own Batman. It's all you. It's like the thing that you have come to identify with in some way, right? You're the. I assume like what is it? It's like the idea like what is it? Your friends know to get you because you like X thing.
Yes.
It's easy to shop for you or whatever, right? It's like
Right.
that idea where you know I own this. This is mine. This is me. This is like my thing. Whether it's solitary or not, whether it's something you share, it's still you. It's all you. And I've been that way with a lot of stuff, right? I've like been trying to like expose myself to where my sort of three main like lanes are video games. No, it's like sorry, four. Sorry, video games, movies, books, and sports lately, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of been my thing, and each of them sort of inhabit like different. I guess what's the word? Different sort of like aspects of like my life where it's like video games, it's both a mix of something solitary and social. Books are very solitary. Sports, it's something social, right? Like I share that with my partner or with my dad if I'm taking him to like a baseball game or something, or if we're watching football or even golf. Like we watched the Masters
I love
all
hearing
like
this, by the way. This might need to be an off-air conversation.
we're so things like, but you get what I'm saying. That's sort of like my development of like, oh, okay, I'm growing to like appreciate different things, right? Like that sort of aspect. And I really do. I like infatuation is a good word for it, because it's not as like ugly or cynical as something like obsession or obligation. Now, like you and I'm sure we're of like the mentality or of like that sort of mindset where sometimes the things we like kind of become a sort of like a job.
Of course.
You
Yeah.
you read a lot of comics. You read a lot of, so I assume like you're in that headspace to like catch up or to kind of like get ahead or to kind of like what is it work your way towards like something, right? Whether
Of
it's
course.
physically collecting or just kind of like getting the full scope of like a story. Uh, in my case, like again, I play a lot of video games, so it's like that thing where it's like I'm at work however long during the day, or you know, I'm back, going back to school full time during the day as well. And then I get home and I'm like, okay, I'm going to play video games now. Like it's part of like my routine. Or I'm going to get mad at baseball or basketball for however long because like it's part of my job. Things like of that nature where it's like, yeah, like this becomes part of our lives in like both a good way and a bad way, but part of it nonetheless.
It's a vital part, I think,
Mm-hmm.
of any life. It's not just what builds our personality around it. And while yeah, there's danger behind it being solely our personality and maybe getting in the way of living a life and having responsibilities, but there's also a certain sense of like fandom is a connective tissue with a world that we don't get to experience. And I think for video games especially, I don't know if you feel this way too, part of the reason why I like it, it's because it's a world that I can control. And granted, there might be story
Yes.
aspects and things like that, but it's nice to exist in a context where I get to decide the outcome. And if my character dies, I get to, go back to the previous save. Can't really do that in real life. And it's also just a way to kind of escape into other worlds that are just not humanly possible. I think escape is just such a huge element to any kind of fandom because let's face it, life can really suck. Life is stressful. There's way too many things that are working against us. It's our own little fortress of solitude, to your point, like especially when you go to video games. I think video games more so than, I mean, maybe books are close, but I really think video games really take it to a whole nother level because it's just like a whole nother world is at your fingertips that you get to see manifested. And yeah, you can manifest the world that like the book that you're reading, to be sure, but it's actually visually realized. It's got the sounds, the controller rumbles, and all those different kind of things. And it's so exciting in this day and age to just see so many great visions come to life. And everything is subject to capitalism, right? But
Yeah.
it's even if capitalism didn't exist, everybody would be trying to make money. Nobody is ever creating art to not be able to live off of it. Nobody is ever like, you know what, I've made enough money. I'm good now. I'm not going to write any more books in this, in this collection of book series, right? Like nobody's ever going to do that. So there is a certain sense of knowing when the fandom has reached its limit and knowing when it's okay to come in and enjoy something for what it is. And I know we talked a lot about it, but that definitely, I think, applies to Star Wars. So I think we control fandom more than we realize. And we don't have to participate in everything. There's a fandom that I'm going to mention of one of my favorite musical artists later on in the show, in the section where we talk about like things to look forward to. And even I have to limit myself with that sometimes too, because it could be a bit much, but it doesn't take away my enjoyment of the artists and engaging the fandom. It's just knowing about limits.
Can I guess the artist?
Oh,
can I guess the artist?
Please
can
do.
I
Please do. Spoiler alert.
Is it Boards of Canada?
How did you know? How did you know?
No. Here's the thing. So here's the thing. Like I'm like, wait, who? No, and I was trying to remember who was it that was coming out with something. Like, and I remember. Oh my God! See, like I know my people.
Yeah, yes,
I know
my
people. I know my people. I know. It's either because I was gonna say, oh, is it the new Weezer song? Is it the new Weezer song? Like, is that what we're doing? I'm like, oh man, all right.
I mean, I should have said Weezer. That's what I should have said.
You should have said, yeah, you're all in.
I'm all in.
You're all in on.
I'm all
we're
in.
all in. Right, but no, it is. I get it. Right, it's just it is that you don't have to participate in everything. Maybe it's best you don't participate in everything. You don't let something define you as a person. You know, there's obviously bad sides to fandom. Again, we've talked about it. Being online is like the worst thing you could possibly do for yourself. I love video games, but I hate talking about video games. It's the worst thing in the world.
Oh yeah,
I
I
hate.
agreed.
I don't.
I
I,
completely agree.
I don't. I don't like video game podcasts either. Right, but I'm doing one anyway because it's like this is the only way I could like talk about it in like a healthy way. This is the kind of thing I want to hear. So it again, it's ugly sometimes. It's not fun to like engage with, but when it hits, it's like yeah, of course I'm a fan of X thing. This is what I like. This is what I'm doing. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to add to that sort of point?
I think I pretty much covered everything. To kind of elaborate on your last thing, yeah, I think that's the other aspect that you have to limit to as well is others' opinions, because it's not like anyone's invalid. You know, people like what they like. Sometimes things aren't for them, but I do think that there's a certain level of just like opinions influencing too much of an enjoyment on something, and I had to cut off getting a lot more Star Wars opinions and just start focusing on enjoying Star Wars. Because look, don't get me wrong, Red Letter Media can be really, really funny. I still think that opening bit that they did on the review of Rogue One is hysterical. But I also think too as well that like they they are gonna harp on things where it's kind of like, okay, I feel like this is now going on a bit too much, in my opinion, for me at least. It's like it's their opinion. I'm not trying to sit here and say like they're wrong because of it. This is just talking on my own personal enjoyment level. So if any Red Letter Media fans are coming out here, not criticizing them, they're great. They do a lot of great work. No hate here, no hate. I just even I have my limits with people that I enjoy and think are entertaining. So sometimes it's like I have to cut it off. You know, like I don't know if you ever watched the Plinkerton reviews that are like almost longer than the actual Star Wars movies themselves.
I
Um,
look so I lately I've been trying to get more into video essays, but obviously my fear is my YouTube. I always go back and delete my watch history so I can rebuild my YouTube. I like curating it perfectly. So my fear is like, oh, there's a cool video essay or that looks this video essay looks cool. Let me click on it, and then it's like the most like right wing coded chud like every dog whistle possible, or you know, and then it's like, well, there my YouTube algorithm's ruined for like the next couple of weeks. I'm only gonna be recommended the absolute worst garbage. So I'm like, I literally have to Google, oh, best YouTube channels for X thing that aren't like that non chud like bait, right? Like, oh,
right.
okay. I watch like a lot of Star Wars lore videos from Corey's Datapad. Great channel, love it. It's one of my all time favorites. But like again, I'm always worried about like other channels where I'm like, ugh, what am I gonna
I
find? What
agree.
am I gonna look for?
I
So
agree
it's like that's
completely.
my fear. YouTube is so sensitive. If you click one thing, that's the only thing you're gonna get forever. And it's like, oh, I have to be very intentional with the way I like look stuff up.
Right. Right. Because I don't know about you. I'm not a fan of like, I played this game for 100 hours and now I'm never playing it again type YouTube videos. Or like, you know, like everything wrong with X game. I don't, I don't want
No, me
that.
either.
I really
Or
don't want
my
that.
weird pet peeve lately, and it's like a weird complaint. Like this is like such an old man complaint, like on my end, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna check this game out. It's like, oh, cool, you're gonna do like a review or a retrospective. No, it's like it's just like a weird let's play where they're like playing the game and talking about it while playing it rather than like doing like a whole like video edited. So I'm like, okay, so now we're just bringing back condensed let's play. I don't know. It's a weird. We're in a weird era with YouTube. But yes, I think avoiding online stuff in general is great. I should become like a what do you call it, a hermit or something. Only post periodically when the Marlins like lose badly as they usually do, and then leaving. What is it? Leave?
I think there's so many
uh,
things to enjoy. And maybe it's just because I'm getting old, but I much rather focus on enjoying things. It's not that criticisms can't be had. I'm not, it's always, I feel like unfortunately there's certain people when you say like, I just want to enjoy things, I just want to have a good time, where they're like, oh, just, they always like to say, again, that red letter media clip, like, oh, just eat your corporate slop, huh? Yeah. Just feed whatever corporations give you. And it's like, whoa. That's not what I mean. It's like,
You know what? A big thing for me is like, I get it. Toxic positivity is a real thing.
right.
Like, it's a very real thing. It's like that thing where it's like, if you have a mild criticism of something that everyone likes, they will like, that sort of positivity will like kill you. But I get, there's like a balance. There's a healthy balance, and I think we all need to kind of like
Right.
just kind of like take it easy just a little bit. I mean, we've seen it with everything. Real quick, is there anything you're looking forward to other than Boards of Canada?
Well,
Come on, I got you there. I know my like, come on, that was a good pull. You gotta admit,
I literally had it in my notes because I was like, I am absolutely talking about Boards of Canada. It was like one of the things I was really excited to bring up. So I hope I could still talk about Boards of Canada.
Go for it. Don't let me spoil it.
So, yes, this is, to your point, a huge deal. Their first album in 13 years from the electronic duo from Scotland, even though their name has Canada in it. And nobody knows really what to expect at this point. Any initial singles or songs have been either just like a short snippet like announcing the album, or a video that has a song accompanying it called Tape 05 or Tape 5. And it sounds fantastic, but everybody's still like kind of on the fence about what this album is really going to sound like, what kind of vision is going to be behind it. So there's a lot of expectations. These guys, like this duo, has been so reclusive for such a long time. Nobody really knows genuinely what to expect, but the album is called Inferno, which is Italian for hell. So this might end up being a dark album. It might not be, because the song that they put out initially, the Tape 05, yeah, it's got an ambient bit, but then it's got this beautiful harp part at the end of the song. So who knows? All I know is that Boards of Canada are in a class all their own, and there's a reason why this is a big deal. There's a reason why the site Bleep, which is the online store for Warp Records, crashed, because there's so much hype and so much anticipation behind this. They really are, for me, not only just one of my favorite artists. They have this high re-listenability across all their albums, and just nobody else does it like them. Nobody else does. There's so many people that have tried to recreate their sound or have been influenced by their sound. It's not that there aren't good artists that come out of that, but nobody gets close to them. Nobody gets close to them. And the excitement is real, and we're about a month away-ish. By the time this podcast drops, I think it'll be around that time, about a month. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. They are truly a special group, and I know I'm going to be there with all the other thousands of Boards of Canada fans, just letting their music wash over me. I have no idea what to expect, but I know it's going to be good. I have that much faith in it, and I could talk about it quite a bit. quite a bit. And I feel like I've already talked a lot about it. But yeah, that's at the top of my list. I do also have some video games too as well.
What are you looking forward to? Like, what games are coming out that you're looking out for?
So this first one is probably not going to be a surprise, because I feel like the theme has been Star Wars and Batman. Lego Batman, that is. Legacy of the Dark Knight. It's
It's
coming
like a
out.
weird Arkham game. Like it's like a Lego Arkham. It's open world and it's based
Right.
on the movies, which is crazy. Like it's based on the movies, which is hilarious.
I love too that the Lego Bane still has that like I was born in the darkness
The Tom
impression
Hardy.
going on. Yeah, yeah, it's perfect. I love that the Harley Quinn animated show did the same thing too. But yeah, it looked genuinely really, really good, and the Lego Batman games have been fun. I think a lot of Lego games have been fun that I played, like the Marvel superhero ones and also the Star Wars ones too. But this one looks like they're really creating something special because, to your point, it's open world. It's got gameplay that's influenced, obviously influenced, like it's like wearing it on its sleeve, influenced by the Arkham Asylum games, and it somehow looks like it all works. And it looks like just basically a love letter to Batman. And the great thing about Batman is that as a character, he's been so many different things. Between, like the goofier, you know, Bam Pow Batman to the darker Frank Miller type Batman. It seems like all that's being represented all the way right down to even like one of the newer renditions of Batman, Absolute Batman 2.
I
So
saw that trailer. It's crazy that they're going all out with like the modern comics. So it's ridiculous. Again, how like they've kind of like got everything in here.
and I love it too because there's no way if there's a kid that's getting this game, there's no reason that a little kid should be reading Absolute Batman. By the way,
Yeah, some kid's gonna ask their mom for a copy of Absolute Batman, and it's gonna mess their like life up entirely. Like they're gonna get like screwed up
you might as well
so
show
much.
that kid Akira because it's basically Batman
That's
meets
crazy.
Akira. Like seriously, it's got like body horror later on in that series. It's just so intense, and I mean it's a great comic. It's been something that I've really been enjoying by Scott Snyder. Um, yeah, I just can't believe that that's something that's going to be in a video game. But that's what it is. It looks like just pure Batman fun, and I can't wait to experience all of it. The other video game that I'm really, really looking forward to, which comes out about like a week afterwards, another franchise returns after a long time. New 007 James Bond First Light.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Oh,
good theme song too.
excellent. Excellent. Everybody had been wanting Lana Del Rey to be doing a James Bond theme song for the longest time. And is it IOI Entertainment or Interactive? Same company that did the Hitman games, which are fantastic, are building what looks to be a quality James Bond game and the return of James Bond to video games since, I don't know, maybe about 13 years too. Just 13 years later with Boards of Canada, 13 years later with James Bond too as well, or just about, I would say. Like, huge, huge deal, huge deal. And the fact that that video game company is building it out, I have a lot of faith in them. I think they're going to be able to deliver. And just seeing all the dev diaries and all the footage, it looks like it's going to have high replayability too as well, just like the Hitman games, which I don't mean to belabor a point, but that Hitman trilogy is phenomenal, absolutely
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. So I feel like they're going to deliver, and I hope a lot of people pick it up and check it out because James Bond not having video games for this whole time has been a huge miss. I love a good James Bond video game, even if they aren't considered like nobody's going to say that Nightfire is Modern Warfare 1, right? But it's still a pure fun escapist first person shooter. And there was a time period where we got those kind of games, and they've been missing, especially in this market right now, too, as well, where it seems like it's oversaturated again with extraction shooters, but also, Battlefield and Modern Warfare and whatever else. It's going to be really, really nice to play a single player campaign, first off, because it feels like those have become rare in general. But it's also going to be great to play one that's going to feel, maybe, for lack of a better term, old school. And it's going to be
Hmm.
nice to return to
Right.
something that's got blockbuster action, as opposed to being like, here's a new, you know, modern warfare game that's based off of our current, you know, our current war tactics, Like, I want the escapist, the pure, entertaining, make believe spycraft that James Bond does so well to come back. And so I'm really rooting for that game, and I hope a lot of people check it out. I think it's going to be good. I really, really do.
Nice. So for me, my thing with gaming lately, it's like I don't know what's coming out, and it's kind of beautiful. It's blissful. It's blissful. I love it. Obviously, Assassin's Creed Black Flag getting a remake is like a big deal for me.
Very
Like
happy about
that's one
that
of my
too.
favorite games. One of my favorite games of all time, 100%. Like I'm very excited for that game. But everything else is just kind of falling to the way. The 007 game looks good, but I'll wait. I'm still not like 1,000% like on it, just because I don't love the Hitman games. I feel like those games, they're less stealth games, more like they're more puzzle games than actual action games, right? Like if I really want a good stealth sandbox, I got Phantom Pain. Like I guess that's my main sort of like thing,
Oh,
right?
you
But
that
the
I feel like we're hitting the trifecta here, sir. Star Wars, Batman, and now Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear. So like that, yeah. I'm not really looking forward to a lot of like new stuff necessarily gaming wise. I think the stuff I'm really looking forward to is like I'm looking forward to keep reading and keep like you know like building out like my library. I'm very excited for that. I'm like gonna read all these old Republic era novels. You know what I started doing last week, and I'm sure you'd appreciate this. I've started the old Marvel Star Wars comics from the 70s and 80s.
Oh,
Like
beautiful. Oh, yeah.
um
So
I
happy
heard
for
those
you.
are insane. I hope those are
Yes.
like absolutely insane and bizarre, but the Marvel app has them all. So I'm like, all right, guess that's a project of mine now, just to like read this insane like Luke looks buff as hell.
Oh, yeah.
All these characters are drawn weird. Darth Vader's green. I don't know. We'll like
There's like a
we'll dive in.
rabbit character too, or something like
Yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
he looks like Jazz Jackrabbit, which is great. Like I don't know why he's like showing up in Star Wars. Other than that, like there's really nothing. I mean, like I'll report back on whether or not I like Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm kind of leaning on like the what is it? Not liking it that much, but who knows? I'll be surprised.
I'm
Maybe
happy
that'll
to do a
convert me.
review with you, buddy. I am absolutely
Oh,
happy to do a review with you.
well, God, watch it come back, and it's like, no, you know what? I'm convinced John Favreau is probably our generation's Bergman. And he did it. Son of a bitch, he did it. But yeah, other than that, like there's not much I'm like really like itching for as far as like games and like books go. This is mostly me digging back into like my library and chipping away. I've been playing Starfield a lot.
Oh, I
I
love
started a new
Starfield.
character.
I need to get
I
back into it with the most recent update. Thank you for reminding me.
so I started a new character I'm building like a bounty hunter slash like Mandalorian type, right? Like that's sort of what I'm doing, just focusing on guns and money specifically, and I'm like enjoying it. I'm taking notes on like how like what I'm doing in the game, like sort of like a quest log, and all this stuff. So I'm chipping away at it slowly. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Did you have anything you want to promote or you want to plug?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to kind of keep in touch with me is on my Twitch channel. So I've been taking a little bit break, just trying to get through some life things, but I have streamed recently Pragmata. I'll be streaming Marathon, and I will definitely be streaming Batman and 007 when they come out. But my Twitch handle is TheMilkmanAdventures, all one word. Feel
I'll
free
link
to.
it in the description. Like I'll make sure.
Sweet.
Like I plug this.
Yeah, I would love to keep on building it up. I would love to get to the point where I can be affiliate. I know it's very tough to do, but I would really appreciate any help that I can get getting there. And honestly, CJ, I think I need to get you on there, and we need to stream Marathon. I'd be very, very curious to see how we do in a squad. And I
Listen, I'm
also
gonna tell
definitely
you
got to
right
stream
now.
Starfield 2
Let me
again.
tell you. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something about me playing marathon. Like I like to think I'm very patient at times. But there's a story. A friend of mine, a friend of the pod, frequent guest, Maddie. The two of us were playing, and they told the story about this one time where we were playing with another friend of ours, where we saw this rook who was like running around, and they tried like talking to the rook. Like, they were like, "Hey, look, we're friendly. We're not going to do anything." And I walked up to them. I threw a gun on the ground as like a good faith, right? Like, here, take this. Immediately shot that dude, point blank. And I heard over the party. I heard over the party chat like, "CJ, no!" And I think I ruined that poor guy's life. Now me, I'm like, nah, us or them. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What do you mean like that? So
That's
yeah,
why you
again,
always
I'm
have a
like,
squad leader and you follow the squad leader.
yeah, yeah. I clearly wasn't. I went AWOL like there for a second. What is it? I'm clearly, what is it, Colonel Cuts or something. Like, I'm down there like going insane. Like, what is it? Just shooting anything that moves. That's cool. Yeah, I caught some of your streams. It's cool because I caught one of your Fallout streams,
Mhm.
which was pretty fun to watch you. I'm glad you're doing something like that, because I know you told me you miss like podcasting and stuff, so it's cool
I
the
do.
streaming stuff is like working out. It's a cool thing. I'm glad. I'm
I
glad.
I've been having a good time with
Good.
it. I thought I was getting close to affiliate, but I just keep on missing the mark. It's just difficult because the way that Twitch kind of works and how it calculates like users, where it's like, I think it's something like you need to have four
It's 50
streams with,
followers.
yeah, so I've got that. It's like, but you need to have four streams in the span of a month where you have three or more people watching. But here's the deal, like if I stream for 3 hours and I had three people on, it averages it out to like one user per hour. It does it based on like a per hour basis, something to that effect.
Gotcha.
I might have the explanation a little bit off, but the generally I think you get the idea, and that's been the challenge there. And look,
Right.
it's fine at the end of the day. I'm not trying to, trying to aim too high. I don't really have any other socials at this point because social media is a bit much. I've thought about posting some videos on TikTok, but it's difficult because it's like I'm not the best gamer. I have a good time, and I've thought about getting a camera and, kind of going off the whole milkman persona for sure. And I probably will, you know, at some point. But I really got to figure it out. I got to figure those things out. I got to iron them out. But I'm going to keep on doing it. And I'm going to get back into it, streaming more regularly. Especially Pragmata has been a lot of fun to showcase too as well. And I really want more people to see it. But there'll be a lot more. And if I can get a team going that includes you on it with Marathon, that'd be a lot of fun. But like I said, if I'm squad leader, you better listen to me, damn it. All right?
Oh, all right. All right. Anyway, you guys can find me. You know where to find me at this point. Don't find me if you haven't found me already. What is it? It's fine. I will say thank you to everybody who's been like listening, and I've had a few people tell me that this is like in their rotation, which is like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm glad that this podcast, it's sort of doing the thing I wanted it to do, where it's like, this is like a very chill, it's not reactionary, it's like a good conversation, it's a good hang.
It
This
is.
is what we need.
And that's what I've always liked about anything that you've done too. And look, you know I'm a big fan. I'm not just here as a friend, I'm also here as a fan too as well. I really like everything that you've done before, and I think having a positive voice here, especially in this day and age, is great. So, buddy, I really hope this continues to grow, and I'm happy to hear that you've had success so far. You deserve it. You're a great guy. You deserve all the best.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, and we'll leave it at that. This was fun. John, thanks again, brother, for being on. And
Thank you so much for having me.
we'll see you all next week. Good night.
Good night.